Alrighty. We are going to discuss in this video how to study and how to allocate and budget study time. And I'm in my not uniform here and looking a little bit like I've been home all day. And you are going to be studying at home and or in your time not in the classroom. And a lot of people don't know how to do that, how to be your own teacher. So I've laid out some guidelines that talk about how to work your way through a textbook, considering it a teacher. We've got some study supports on the YouTube channel and help you allocate time and understand about how much time everything is going to take. So let's see how this is going to roll out. So let's get to share screen, and we're going to start out on Canvas, and we're going to talk about fundamentals first. So I just want to, you will have learned how to get onto Canvas here. Just want to remind you about how this lays out and all the different features that are here for each chapter. Here's the chapter test that you have to put up on the grade book, and then there will be a link also for the workbook. Those are the two graded elements for fundamentals. So I want to bring your attention to this tab right here, announcements. Announcements is where I will post information about what to study for the class and or the Zoom class, in class or Zoom class remote. Any other information I might find, changes in scheduling, that sort of thing. And then I also want to point out this discussion board. That is, you're going to be asked to write 3 multiple choice questions per chapter. And this is where we're going to post those. So if I click on that, we don't have anything in it yet, but this is where you would put those. And so let's see, please use this forum. What happens if I hit next here? Ta-da! Well, that just opened us up to the fundamentals animations. So let's go back. And there isn't, the reason why this is not showing up is that there isn't a question in here yet. But this is what where we're going to put those, and all the students will be able to look at the questions that you posted, and it can become a, sort of a quiz. So that's the discussion board. So here are the announcements. And the first announcement I have for you in fundamentals is how to study for fundamentals of therapeutic massage. So let's click that. And if it's one that I've just written, it'll show up in the body here. But if I've posted a link or something, then it'll be an attachment, and then you will open it to download it. Open it to download it. And it'll appear usually at the bottom of your screen. And then you click it to open the file. Okay, so this opened up into a Word document. And these are the study elements available that we have provided for you. You have a paper book, and you're going to have the same book electronically. And in order to access the electronic version, you're going to have to work through a program called Vital Source. And you can also put an app for this on your smart device, your thing here. And there are a lot of advantages to this. The biggest one, I think, is that the book has a read to you feature, which is really, really nice for to have background listening when you're driving, to use it as a review, to follow along in the textbook, etc. Then we have a YouTube channel. And Luke and I have been working really hard on pulling this together, and there's a playlist specifically for fundamentals of therapeutic massage and a playlist specifically for your other textbook, Essential Sciences for Therapeutic Massage. So I don't think that's going to let me open that in here. Let me hit, let's see, enable editing. Okay. Now, let's see if it will let me open. Click Control. And see if it, I futz around with this stuff just like you do. Well, it will open. And if it doesn't, then you can go through here and copy this and put it in a browser. And when you get there, it'll look like this. All right. And what you will find for the playlist is a series of intro videos and some study helps. And then there will be a video or more that I have done per chapter. And it depends on how large the chapter is, how many topics are in it. So this is gonna act as part of your lecture for each chapter. And it will highlight areas to pay specific attention to. It will give you a general overview of the whole chapter and what the content is about. And it will help you work your way through the chapter by telling you, okay, pay attention to this and this you have to have a general idea about. All right, those are the study elements. And then this stuff is delivered on Canvas. So there'll be a link to the YouTube channel, or you can find it through a search. And this stuff is over here on this side menu right here. And this is telling you here, look at the announcements, always pay attention to that, and then giving you a visual. So as you're becoming familiar with this, a visual, and Smokey is wanting to be part of this discussion today, the kitty, give you the elements and what they look like. They might not be exactly like this, but sometimes it's helpful to say, oh yeah, I'm in the right spot by having a visual. Okay, a lot of people don't know how to, or aren't comfortable with, or haven't been successful with determining how much time they have to devote to self-study and how you would set up a learning schedule for yourself. So that's what I've done for fundamentals, and we'll look at essential sciences as well. So the time allocation is going to give you an idea how do I organize my day around the studies. And the fundamentals of therapeutic massage content is delivered at approximately 2 chapters per month. Now, this is not written in stone, but that's the general platform. So 1 chapter about every 10 to 14 days. So this study, these bullet points down here are a suggestion on how you can organize your day, your week, and your month so that you stay up to date with your homework. So the very first thing you want to do, and I've allocated a day for this when you're getting ready to look at a chapter, is to view all of those introductory videos and lecture and study guide videos for that chapter. And there, I gave you 3 hours for that. Some will take that and some won't. So, and don't get all caught up in trying to remember anything yet. Just listen, go through. You can come back and look at those again and again and again. Each time you do, they'll make more sense to you. But this is just going to give you, okay, this is a chapter. Yep, there's a lot of subsections in this chapter. And and you probably will have an animal or a kid or a cat that is interfering with your learning time too. So we're just patient with those living organisms in our world. Once you get through those, then you're going to go back and more thoroughly read the chapter in smaller study segments. So that's one of the first mistakes people make, is they try to study too much at one time, and it really doesn't work. You have to go over the material over and over and over in different ways. So this is the general overview. And then you're going to allocate about an hour to your new information in that chapter that day. And you're going to do that for about 7 days. In addition, you're going to budget 30 minutes to go back and look at previous chapter or previous chapter, the chapter you're in, but content you have looked at the day before. And what's a good way to do that is the ebook Read to Me feature, so that information, those words, that content is coming at you from another platform. And you can even do your dishes or fold your laundry or whatever while that's going on. So this is going to take up, let's say there's 1 or 2 days here. And then we've got 7 days here. So given a day on either side, starting about day 10 in this 14-day period, you're going to want to start working on the chapter test. Now this is different than the end of chapter questions. This is delivered through Canvas. There will be a link for you to click on. And these chapter tests have 50 to 150 questions. So that's why you've got so much time. And this goes into your grade book. Also in this last period of study, you're going to complete the workbook, and there'll be a link on Canvas for that. And that will also be posted into your grade book. So those are the 2 elements that are graded. Additionally, you will work on the end of chapter questions. It takes about an hour to work through those. And we're likely to look at those during our Zoom meetings or a group activity or something like that. So we'll use those in multiple ways. And then I want you to write 3 questions. And you're going to get better and better at writing questions as we go through. And this is a great way to study for the MBLEX exam, which is the licensing exam. So I'm giving you a half an hour for each question right here. So an hour and a half. And those will post to the discussion board. So based on this, you're going to have 20 to 25 hours every 2 weeks, or about 10 to 12 hours per week, which is, let's see, let's get our trusty calculator out. Let's go to the max. 12 divided by, let's say, 6 days, day off. That's 2 hours a day. Additionally, you're going to have your essential science studies. So for each chapter, here's your YouTube channel and what those look like and what the playlist looks like. And here is the, so this 15 minutes, you'll do 2 of these. That's where the 30 minutes comes from. And you can follow along and use the Read to Me feature and the whole thing in your ebook. And then complete all the proficiency exercises in the chapter. They're not graded, but you're an adult responsible student. And these exercises help solidify comprehension. That stuff doesn't have to be spelled right. If there's a drawing asked for, it doesn't have to be pretty. This is a form of retention support. Then at the end of the chapter, you're going to complete and self-grade the multiple choice questions. And here's where the answers are on Canvas. And then there's your 3 multiple choice questions. And so the goal of all of this is to review terminology and concepts. I also suggest, although it's not graded, that you complete the quick content review. This is based off of the chapter objectives, and you just write a narrative based on those. And then the answers are also loaded into Canvas for you, and you can self-check yourself. And then complete the workbook. And when you do that, then it'll go into, you'll submit it and it'll go into the grade book. And then you take the chapter test, and here's a picture of what that looks like. And you can keep taking it. It's open book. You can work on this with study groups. You're paying for the class, so I'm not expecting that you're gonna cheat. You know, that's not going to do you any good. So, and you'll just keep taking it until you achieve 90% or higher. And then be prepared to discuss the chapter on discussion board and during the Zoom classes. Most of that discussion board is going to be looking at the multiple choice questions you guys write. So there you go. Okay. Now, you may figure out a different way to do this, but it shouldn't deviate too much from these recommendations. Okay, let's get out of that and get back to our Canvas and the dashboard, because I'm going to go to the Essential Science course. Now, I've got a bunch of courses going. You're just going to have 2. And as of right now, these are still in development. So that's why you see this thing published on there. Okay, we're going to flip over to Essential Science. And you're going to have the same setup. And this is how your Sciences Fall 2020, 2021. Announcements is where you're going to find specifics that come up and some guidance on, hey, I found this really good website, and if there's a schedule change, etc. And down here is the syllabus, and this is where you're going to find your YouTube list. I've also posted it to announcements here. This is the one that I call the guest lecture series. These are YouTubes that I have previewed that I think are particularly helpful in reinforcing content. There's some really crappy material on YouTube, but there's really a lot of good. And it can really support the science studies, whereas there isn't the same kind of YouTube support for fundamentals. So we're going to go to announcements. And here's that video list, our guest speaker list that I'll be mentioning. And here's how to study for essential science. So we're going to click that. Here's your download. And you click that to open it. And it should look very similar to what we saw with fundamentals, but there are more components. So we have the textbook, the electronic version delivered through VitalSource, there's a link through Canvas to get to that once it's all set up. And there's an app that you can download to your device that you carry around so that you can work on this when you're not by your laptop or desktop. We have Canvas, which that we're working through right now. I already talked to you about the announcements. And additionally now, we have an online course for essential science. So we have all of the textbook content, and there's a fully developed online course. It was made for a previous edition of Essential Science, and it's still valid, and it works you through the chapter, and it stands on its own as well. And it is, the only thing with it is that some of the links might be broken. And so if that's the case, don't worry about it. Just keep going through. And there is a module exam that goes with this. So there's two graded requirements then for essential science. The chapter test, like we have for essential science, and the module test related to the online course. So fundamentals, you've got the chapter test and the workbook. In essential science is graded, it goes into the grade book. You've got the online course chapter test, and you've got your essential science textbook chapter test. Two tests. The online exam has 25 questions. The chapter test, like in fundamentals, varies. It can be 50 to 150 or more questions. You have the YouTube channel, just like you did for fundamentals, but you're going to click on the playlist for essential science. And same kind of thing, there will be some introductory videos. There's one there that helps you go through and understand how to manage the online course. And so there's an overview on the features of the essential science textbook. And then there's videos of me talking to you uh, and giving you a generalized overview of the whole chapter and how to focus and study. Some chapters will only have one video, and others might have multiple. And they range from 30 minutes to about an hour. Now, you don't have to look at those all at once. You can. That's a nice thing about the electronic delivery, is you can stop it and go do something and then come back, and you can look at it multiple times. So here's that same time allocation for your self-study. So approximately one chapter is assigned per month. So one chapter about every 30 days. And then here's some suggestions on how to organize that study. So in the beginning, firstly, I've given you 1 to 3 days here. Schedule 3 one-hour segments for viewing the overarching YouTube lecture channels and study guidelines. Follow along in the book while you do that. I have used the electronic version, so you can see headings and stuff, and you can follow along in your paper book. Then, after you do that, then allocate time for 2 study segments in the textbook. Now you can read either with the paper book or the, hold on a minute, my kitty is doing something. What are you doing? I'm back. There's a squirrel. There's a squirrel bothering the kitty through the window. You know, whichever works good for you. And I also think that if you look through your paper book at the same time that the read to feature is being used, I think that's another way to reinforce content. So once you get through all the pieces in the chapter, get to the end of the chapter, and 2 study segments. The reading sections are divided into about 15-minute segments, and then if you do 4 of those 15 segments a day, you're going to get your hour. And I don't like you to really study more than 30 minutes at a time. And you're going to do that for about 7 days. And that's how you're going to get the textbook content read or listened to, and hopefully both. Okay, then you're going to put the book aside and you're going to go through the online module. These are called modules, that is a companion to the textbook chapter. And these are found, the link is found on Canvas, and this is, you know, it's set up where it's like it's being lectured to you, and I've got a video under the playlist for Essential Science that explains the online chapter or the online course succinctly. And then the link for your module exam. Now that's going to go in your grade book. That's the 25 question exam. Okay, once you've done that, and I've given you 7 days for that. So how many days are we in here? 3, 10, 17. Then you're going to go to the YouTube playlist, the guest lecturer playlist. I showed you that on announcements, and this is giving you a reminder of that. And it's probably most conveniently going to be found for you under the syllabus tab. And you're just going to listen through the videos and watch those for the chapter. Now, additionally on that YouTube list, there's some overarching anatomy and physiology courses that are really good in and of themselves, and I would encourage you just to work your way through that. There's medical terminology courses. Work your way through that as part of your study time. Allocate 15 minutes or so to do that, and just kind of tunk along, even if it's ahead. There's some access to some dissection videos there. That's okay that it is not completely aligned up with the chapter we're working with. There's also a section on medications and on pathology. So those are really good to just go, okay, I am going to allocate 15 minutes to 30 minutes. This is like the review or enhancing, rounding out the science information that I'd suggest you do for review for fundamentals. And just keep moving along through that. That's over and above these specific YouTube videos that I have for each chapter. Then go back to your textbook and complete the end of chapter multiple choice questions and self-check them. The answers are provided. And then use those as examples to write 3 questions on your own and post those to the discussion board for Essential Science. So I've given you a good amount of time. I've suggested a good amount of time for you to work with this. Then complete. So this is in the textbook, it's located before the end of chapter questions. Then go into the textbook and complete the end of chapter critical thinking activity. And then my responses for that is under the same link where you find the answers for the multiple choice questions. It's this one right here. And I want you to be prepared to do a couple of things in the future with this content. We can compare on Zoom. I can have you write your own case study and we can discuss it. This is part of teaching you to be a critical thinker and not, get away from the idea of wanting black and white types of right answers. This is what is preparing you to be a massage therapist. Once you've done that, then complete the chapter test. And I've given you a good amount of time, 2 to 4 days to do that. And that will then, because there's a lot of questions, that will post to the grade book. And when you're working on these tests, any of them, these multiple choice questions, you want to know why the wrong answers are wrong. And as you write your own questions, I think you're going to find that you learn as much or more by writing good wrong answers than you will by knowing what the right answer is. And all of this is preparation also for the NBLEX exam. So everything that you're going to need to know, well, 99%, that in some form can show up on the NBLEX exam, which is the Massage and Bodywork Licensing exam, as in these 2 books. And we've expanded with the study helps here. So I want to be able, and Luke, we want to be able to concentrate on your hands-on skills. You have to pass the NBLS exam once. And then you have to keep up to date with renewing your license, but you only have to take it once. Yes, it's a gate to being able to practice massage therapy. But your hands-on skills and your critical thinking skills and your people skills and your professional skills, these are going to be the skills that are going to make you a successful massage therapist in working with your clients. So we want to concentrate on that when we're face-to-face in the classrooms. And I absolutely depend on you to be a good self-teacher. That end of lecture. Okay, now for your essential sciences, then you've got 25 to 30 hours over 30 days. Remember, it's about one chapter a month. Works out to about 8 hours per week, 4 to 5 hours per day, or 4 to 5 hours. 1 to about 1 hour a day. So you need to allocate total about 3 to 3.5 hours a day for homework. And it's best if that is divided into chunks. So you're not going to want to sit for 3 hours and work on stuff. And the chunking has been pre-done for you if you follow through. And that's talked about in the videos that are overarching for each of the chapters in Fundamentals and Essential Science. Don't get behind. That's where people get really stressed, is if they get behind. And should you get behind, then don't get discouraged. Now, there's enough slop time in there for you to get caught up. So whether you use my suggestions on how you go through this study process, or you augment them with study strategies of your own, there is a significant part of success with this program with you using the textbook and support material as part of your own, you know, it's a teacher and you are your own teacher in that. And there'll be time, obviously, for questions if you struggle or if you don't know what to do. And I really believe that if you start out from the beginning with this kind of a process, that you're gonna learn more, retain more, apply more, and be less stressed when we reach graduation. Okay, there we go. So, see, I'm home like you will be, or on the road or something. I'm not in my uniform, you know. You can do this in your jammies if you want, which is what's kind of nice about having this remote and this online support material and access. So, okay, there you go.